Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, Tasmania's fire union is sounding the alarm, saying staff shortages are putting Tasmanians at risk as bushfire season continues. The fire service currently has 28 vacant roles waiting to be filled, with warnings that the situation could be more dire.
Workforce problems in the fire service are flaring up, and the union says things are at breaking point.
They're getting really close to having to close fire stations because people are working 6 days a week.
Forced to work overtime just to keep Tasmanians safe, while almost 30 positions remained unfilled. Many of those are missing in crucial roles like communications and community fire safety. The fire union says employees leaving the workforce aren't being replaced, a system called vacancy controls at work. With fears, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
That does not include people on long-term leave. It doesn't include people on workers' comp. We know that realistically, it's at least double that number right now.
The state government rejecting claims that vacancy controls are being used, claiming Tasmania's record low unemployment rate is to blame.
This is, with low unemployment at the moment, a difficult time to recruit anybody for any role.
And it's a problem that's only set to worsen as TFS leadership moves towards retirement, with fears there'll be nobody left to cover the loss.
If we don't significantly improve wages and conditions and start addressing the staffing issues now, we're going to have massive issues in 5 to 10 years' time.
Then in the point of a crisis, the government will not be able to respond in the way it needs to ensure that we can fight the fires, but most importantly to ensure that the people who are fighting them for us are safe.
Hoping cool heads prevail. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
And staffing levels in mental health are also coming under question today. 7 Tasmania is in receipt of a draft letter to consumers claiming services are being scaled back. For more, we're joined by reporter Annie Green. Now, Annie, what's in this letter?
Kim, the letter was dated last Thursday. It claims Northern Mental Health Services will be working at a critical level for the next 4 weeks due to staff shortages. They say appointments are being made for critical situations only and could be cancelled at any time, with changes to patient outreach. We contacted the Department of Health, which has denied the situation is critical and says that the letter is a template and has not been sent. A spokesperson has assured anyone who needs care will receive it. Kim?
Okay, thank you very much there, Annie. Well, police are investigating multiple yet unrelated woundings last night in the north. A man was shot in the leg at Underwood just after 7:30. In a separate incident, another man was stabbed in the stomach in Kings Meadows. Both men were taken to the Launceston General Hospital in a serious condition. Police are working to locate both offenders. They believe there is no risk to the wider community as the offenders in each incident are known to each other. The Sydney Hobart yacht, which washed up on Cape Barren Island, is now Aboriginal property, according to Aboriginal Land Council Tasmania. Chairman Michael Mansell says since 1820, Aboriginal salvage law has overridden white man law because it's sovereign territory, and cites several vessels in the past that have washed up on shore. They're calling for 1/3 of the vessel's value to be paid or for owners to agree Aborigines own it. The owners were contacted for comment. The yacht has been brought to northern Tasmania. The Big Bash is back in Hobart tonight, where the Hurricanes have one less problem to worry about. Let's head live to Blunston Arena now for the latest with Tom Johnson. Hello there, Tom. Now, the Melbourne Stars have ruled out one of their top guns.
Good evening, Kim. They have. Marcus Stoinis is a no-go for tonight after he strained his hamstring in their last game against the Sixers. It's a handy out for the Hurricanes, who desperately need a win to stay in touch with the final 5. The side played beautifully here this time last week against the Strikers, but have just 3 wins from 8 games when they couldn't back it up in Adelaide. Perfect conditions for cricket tonight, although becoming a little bit overcast at this point, sitting around 20 degrees and likely comfortable viewing as the night goes on. Hopefully the rain stays away. The Hurricanes' 15-man squad has been out on the ground warming up for the clash. One big change tonight, Tom Andrews is in the squad replacing Billy Stanlake, who has been ruled out of the rest of the tournament with a hamstring strain of his own. I'll have the final 11 later on in sport, along with the rest of the day's sport. And Kim, fans are starting to take up the best spots here on the hill. Should be a great night night ahead. Talk again soon.
A new early learning centre is hoping to offer a safe and supportive space to children and their parents in Mayfield. The Moy Latina facility will offer its range of free services to families from Lilydale to Invermay. It's part of a $28 million commitment by the state government to build 6 of the centres statewide.
We'll have a social worker, a speech therapist and a child psychologist a day a week here in the centre as well. You don't need appointments, you can just drop in and see those people.
Around 1,500 children are able to access the program. A slow start to summer has Tasmanian wine growers bracing for a late charge to the finish line. Recent warmer weather serves as a godsend to the industry. One local winery says this season's unusual conditions could actually uncork a hidden bonus for growers.
Flanked by the lifeblood of his viticulture venture, winemaker Adam WADEWITZ has needed the same patience usually afforded to an aged wine. His grapes are now flowering, only later than usual thanks to summer's wet start. But he says that complexity only adds complexity to what ends up in the bottle.
You tend to get more detailed characters that, the grapes get a lot of time on the vine, so you get wonderful flavours and a great expression of the season.
That's not to say it hasn't been a rocky road. TOLPUDDLE Vineyard has faced troubles seen throughout Tasmania's industry this year.
You run into problems with flowering, obviously disease problems are ramped up.
It's just one of the challenges of growing grapes in this really hard place to grow grapes.
Despite the challenges, Wine Tasmania says local growers are well versed in dealing with disease problems, and delays across the agriculture industry shouldn't impact worker numbers too heavily.
Cherries missed Christmas, they're coming on late. Apples will be late, but also our wine grapes will be late. So we should be able to get those workers come into our sector.
TOLPUDDLE has one eye away from the vines though, with a multi-million-dollar cellar door in store to be built this year. And with its Chardonnay recently crowned Decanter Magazine's White Wine of the Year, the vineyard is in a purple patch.
One of the cool things about working with great vineyards is the more you put into them, the more you get out of them.
Even if Mother Nature sometimes makes it that little bit harder. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's music and tourism sectors continue to throw their support behind the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium. Destination Southern Tasmania and a local promoter believe the proposed 23,000 venue hits the right note, saying top international acts don't perform here due to a lack of capacity.
Definitely big promoters from the mainland and internationally that want to bring artists to Tasmania, but without an appropriate stadium or venue, it's just not possible.
Comes as legendary music promoter Michael Chugg called for the capacity of the project to be lifted to 30,000. Acting Premier Michael Ferguson, however, says the planned size won't change. One of Tasmania's busiest roads is now safer, with an upgrade of the section of the Arthur Highway finally complete. Under the $5 million project, the road has been widened and the surface improved at Eagle Hawk Neck, with upgrades also to the Blowhole Road turnoff. The government is also reviewing the entire section between Sorell and Port Arthur.
We want to fully understand the importance of this asset going forward so that we can protect it, that we can make sure that we make future investment decisions on the best evidence.
This is an issue that's been raised within our business community probably over the past 2 or 3 years.
It's expected to begin later this year. This year's judging panel for the prestigious Hadley's Art Prize will be made up entirely of artists for the first time. Two-time finalist Milan Milovic is jumping over to scrutinise the competition, which features the nation's best landscape works. Entries are now open. Up for grabs is a life-changing $100,000 winner prize purse.
So you can sort of really just immerse yourself in making art and not have any financial worries and be able to explore a lot of stuff you wouldn't have the opportunity to explore.
It's a wonderful way to support artists and inspire them to create something.
The top pieces take pride of place around the hotel once the competition is over. Entries close at the end of March, with the winners announced in July. Hobart is a centre of the marine world this week. Scientists gathering for a conference focusing on Tasmanian coastal reefs. The 4-day event discussing temperate reefs and what can be done to help them thrive as the climate changes.
Making a splash in marine science. For the next 4 days, UTAS's Stanley Burbury Theatre will be hosting a deep dive into the world of temperate reefs.
There's a number of research groups around the world that are doing fantastic work in this area. Tasmania is one of them.
19 countries are being represented in Hobart at an international symposium.
What are the changes? Why are they occurring? Where are they occurring? Where are the resilient spots?
Tasmania's waters are part of the Great Southern Reef, which extends from Queensland to Western Australia. Experts say it's a critical ecosystem.
It's much, much bigger than the Great Barrier Reef, and yet most Australians don't know about the Great Southern Reef. There are rock lobster and abalone fisheries that are dependent on healthy, functioning temperate reefs.
Scientists, students and even the odd politician watching on.
A really good opportunity to take some of the information and the messages from today to Canberra and develop some policies.
For Professor Amanda Bates, Hobart is a home away from home. Despite the challenges of pollution and climate change, the former IMAS employee is buoyant for the future.
We have all of these people on the planet. We're super clever. If we work together as teams, we can see that there's really positive outcomes.
With more than 250 people attending, this is Hobart's largest conference since the COVID outbreak began. Delayed by 2 years due to the pandemic, attendees are glad to be back in the same room and collaborating with each other once again.
It feels like you suddenly connect your family, and it's like, you get all the positives of having all these really rich relationships.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Welcome back to Blunston Arena, where the Hobart Hurricanes are moments away from taking on the Melbourne Stars. The final 11 was released a short time ago. There's no Matthew Wade. He's out for personal reasons, but Mitch Owen is in, so is Tom Andrews on debut. The Hurricanes won the bat flip and are chosen to bowl first tonight. There's been a shock on day one of the Hobart International, with one of the big draw cards bundled out in the first round. 4th seed Sloane Stephens was crushed by fellow American Lauren Davis in straight sets. In windy conditions, Davis converted 5 out of 11 break points in the 6-2, 6-2 win.
Yeah, it got a little bit stressful there towards the end, but got it together, and I'm just really happy to have won here.
Elsewhere, Australia's Talia Gibson is also out, going down to 2022 Wimbledon semi-finalist Tatiana Maria, 6-3, 6-2.
Good evening. Too good a day to be working today, but you've got to come back at some stage, don't you? Pretty nice in the north today, even though a weakening cold front brought cloud to the south. Hobart 22, Launceston 28, Devonport 21 today, and Burnie peaked at 23 degrees. Bushy Park, Ooze and probably Wayatina with our high today of 30 degrees. Some temperatures up to 6 above average. Smithton 27, Lyawini warmed up to 26, Grove 25, Friendly Beaches 24, St Helens, Lowhead and Strawn 23, 22 today on the Bass Strait Islands. And as mentioned, the low cloud increased during the day, but the north remained mostly clear, and particularly the north and northeast of the state there. A large area of cloud is over central Australia due to ex-tropical cyclone Ellie. North and western Queensland had thunderstorms from the cloud there. Tomorrow a high will move to be just to our west as a weak low sits over Bass Strait, a trough pushing north from there, a pair of weak troughs on the Big Island as well. Winds mostly south-southeasterly at 15 knots but to 20 knots over the west, swells at 2.5 metres in western and southern waters. Hobart tomorrow expecting 20 and partly cloudy, no rain about. 21 for Adventure Bay, Tarraleah partly cloudy and 24 the maximum. Launceston as high as 27, cloudy. 22 for Devonport, cloudy for Bridport and 23 degrees. Burnie tomorrow, a high of 19, a cloudy day, partly cloudy for Strawn, 23 the maximum and 22 for Marrawar. And for the east, partly cloudy, St Helens 20 along with Swansea, Whitemark 22 degrees. UV climbing to an extreme 12 tomorrow. On Wednesday, a fine day for all of the state, expecting a terrific day for the Devonport Cup, partly cloudy, 22 and no chance of rain there. Fine and mostly sunny again on Thursday with an east northeasterly breeze. And fine Friday, 30 in Launceston, Hobart 25, maybe a shower or thunderstorm later over central parts. 36 and partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow, warm and sunny for Adelaide, partly cloudy weather forecast for Melbourne, sunny and warm in Sydney and also Brisbane. Still a bit cloudy over Hobart at 17 at the moment. Fine in Launceston and clear, 25 and currently 21 in Devonport. Kim, I was having a great break until you demanded that I return. Thanks for that, really appreciate it.
It's the way it works. Apparently some people were missing you. Good to have you back. That is all we have time for this evening. Good night, everyone.